Today we're going to talk about the Panamera Turbo, which is a little bit of a departure from some of the cars in which we specialize that came in the 911, the GT cars, the cars that have 2 seats and enough storage space for your bowling bag. A family sedan, it comes in the form of a wagon, and it's similar to the Cayenne that Porsche has had so much success with. It comes in the form of a coupe as well as an SUV. I got married in March 2020, and 6 minutes later, COVID happened. Later that summer, my wife and I found out that we were expecting our first, so it came time to get rid of the 2-seater sports cars that I was lucky enough to get to drive every day and get a family sedan with 4 seats, 4 doors, and a lot of trunk space. And yes, it had to be a Porsche because I wanted to learn more about them. None of the businesses like ours specialized in the Panamera, so I wanted in. I wanted a really cool car that I could justify the ownership of with the fact that I got it at a steal before the market exploded, and I could use it to learn about to further advance my business. So this was my girl. 2017, 18,000 miles, and somebody clicked every box, every option. This car had a $205,000 sticker when it left the factory, and I was able to pick it up for essentially half off. The reason I like this car is because I can exploit it under what I like to call the Mr. Potato Head approach. And why that is because nowadays car manufacturers will just have one engine and they will change the ECU to dictate how much power it will make. So these turbochargers, these intercoolers, this engine, everything here is not only in multiple models across the Porsche line that make more or less power. You go to a Lamborghini Urus or to an Audi, and this culture has a different name on it. It looks different, but everything underneath is all still the same. And what does one do the week they bring home by far and away the most ridiculous expensive car that they will own 82 years from now once the bank loan's complete? Put it on the chassis dyno, of course. Everything goes on the dyno jet because it does not lie, and in 2-wheel drive dyno mode, the car produced the 550, 560 at the tires that the factory said it would make at the crank. At the higher end of the RPM range, these dips in the power could be felt while driving it, so I knew I had to do something. Okay, we had been on the dyno. My butt dyno had desensitized slightly to the amount of power that the fastest family sedan that I'd ever driven was making, and those that know me know that I'm a tinker and that I can't leave well enough alone. So went out on the internet looking for anyone that would gain me access to the ECU in this car, and while everyone and their mother specializes in the sports cars and the GT cars, there were very few players. And I couldn't go to the tried and trusted Cobb access port library that had given me so much success starting in 2017. And I wanted to make my own stuff. I jumped in and looked for somebody that would get me access to the ECU, and that's where I found the folks from Deadbeat Flash in the Isle of Man. And with a very generic OBD to Ethernet cable, they can read and write to the ECU via Ethernet, which is significantly faster than the technology that is in place right now via CAN and traditionally via the OBD. So I had a cable, a software company started by some friends of mine that had much success in the industry, and I had a way to get the file read out. But I don't know how to do this. There's a whole language that you have to learn to be able to change these files, and I needed access to that. So while I was in the pool, I was treading water. And here you are in the deep end trying to learn something totally new, but this is your first foray, so much like trying to learn Portuguese and already knowing Spanish, it's a little easier going in fresh. And you're learning, you're trying things, I'm making changes to things, and then I'm putting them on the dyno to see how we do. And the result was fantastic. What have I been busy with lately? I'm determined to make an ECU calibration for it that makes more power. And specifically, I'm determined to make an ECU calibration for it to give to GTS owners that want turbo power. Holy smokes, that worked even better than I thought it would. Down at the bottom, we picked up over 100 pound-foot of torque at 4,000 RPM, where you actually can enjoy this car on the street. Then, up top, we fixed all those dips that I didn't like and created this nice flat power curve and this decent torque table. At the car wash, I can use the air suspension to raise it up and give it that rally ride height. And my dog has no trouble adjusting to the increased longitudinal
You gotta lean into the G's.
acceleration. The
Lean
wicked
into the
stuff
G's.
pulling torque.
There you go, buddy. Work on that stance. Come on.
And the best part is, making all that power, it's a fantastic road trip car. We took it on a 2,000-mile trip, 7 months pregnant with a 1-year-old, and we loved it. So, if you've enjoyed this video because you like what I've told you about the Panamera Turbo and these other models, go online. You can go to Auto Trader. You can go to the Porsche website. You can find these cars. They're fantastic. I am partial to the 2017 and newer models because they got an aesthetics improvement, and it no longer looks like the person that designed the rear end of it was not allowed to meet the person that designed the front end of it, and the big Judy patootie styling cues went out, and we have something a little bit more streamlined. And the newer cars in 21, 2, and 3 got some more upgrades, but for the most part, this 4-liter twin-turbo V8 monster motor exists in so many cars, so many Audis, the Lamborghini Urus, and I'm just happy to know that if somebody else rolls through here and wants the same thing that I've done to this car, that I can replicate my findings and show them what I've done, and hopefully show some others how to achieve the same thing.